typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
That's right. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show with Brandon Rhymes. Brandon is on vacation this week. My name is James DeJerome. I produce the show for Brandon. Been with him for about 3 years now. The Consumer Quarterback Show has been on air for almost 9 years now. The idea is that we're a consumer advocate program. We do our best to round up sponsors and business owners, take time out of their busy day to give you some information, some of their perspective on what they do so you can be a little wiser and spend your money a little smarter out there. So Brandon, again, is the owner of the Platinum MVP team. He's a Keller Williams agent. He's got real estate opportunities for you that we're going to pitch during the show. The main thing is that we want to engage with you. So check out our YouTube channel. You can go to YouTube and search the Consumer Quarterback Show. You can listen to us every day, drive time, AM 860. Of course, we have the Sunday morning show on 102.5 FM. We're trying to put the show out there for everybody because we think there's real value for you in the show. As I said, we mentioned our sponsorship. The sponsor for this particular segment is Replenish IV Solutions. They do such a great job. Replenish IV Solutions offers you an opportunity to get energized, hydrated. You know, we're all worried about our immune systems nowadays with this COVID-19 thing. Well, you can make sure that you're working to ensure your safe and effective body systems with Replenish IV Solutions. Again, Steve and Lisa Gunnan. Great business model. They'll come directly to your home or business if you can't get to one of their Bay Area locations. Check them out online, Replenish IV Solutions. And of course, as I mentioned, our real estate, big part of the show here. We've got a couple of properties to look at. Brandon has commercial and residential opportunities for you, even in this time of real estate scarcity. Johnny, what do you got for me up there? Here's an opportunity for you in the Tampa area, Clearwater, 1780 Clearwater Largo Road, a hot corner location. This is a commercial opportunity. If you want to open a business, he's got an office storefront. About 50,000 vehicles a day drive by this spot. So 1780 Clearwater Largo Road, great commercial opportunity for you if you're looking to start a business. What else you got for me, John? Here's Dunedin. We've got a prime commercial space, newly renovated, 434 Skinner Boulevard in Dunedin, located in downtown Dunedin, walking distance to the Pinellas Trail. Minutes to the parks and beaches. Perfect for growing companies. Get in touch with Brandon if you're looking to get into the Dunedin area for your business. Again, he's got a spot right there at 434 Skinner Boulevard. All right, so I talked a little bit about all the different home services and the guys that Brandon has built a network with. We've expanded that into the legal profession and medicine, health and medicine as well. Joining us now on the phone, Frank Charles Miranda, Frank Charles Miranda Law. How you doing today, Frank?
Hey, I'm doing great, James. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks so much for joining us. You know, I think it's important that folks get a legal perspective or once in a while have questions about what's going on in the news. I certainly have a lot of things in the news that I don't understand, and you have that background in law, but also real estate. I know that I hear you and Brandon talk a lot about investment and real estate advice. What can you tell us a little bit about the market before we get started with the law?
The market remains strong in this area. I think that's due in part to so many people moving here, particularly from up north. They're coming down here, and they're cash buyers. And so what's going on and what I'm seeing is there's such a lack of inventory that people are being very aggressive with their offers. And sometimes, you know, I had someone in here yesterday, sometimes because they have to be so aggressive to get the property, some things are being overlooked. Like, for instance, I had a person in here that claims that the seller's not disclosing everything wrong with the properties. That's probably been an ongoing theme the last 2 months. And so because people are bidding so high and so quickly, maybe less scrupulous sellers are not telling the buyer everything that could be wrong with that property that has an effect on the overall value.
As you mentioned, the competition, I see properties that are being bought by the day they're listed. Before they get 24 hours on the market, they've already got people waiting out there.
Yeah, so what we've seen is in closing these transactions is a lot of times we're seeing overbidding. And so in order to get that deal, there's a 10, 20, 30% on top of what the asking price is. I mean, if you want to sell a piece of property, you can pick a better time. Mm-hmm. And this is a lot different. This is different than 06. You know, 06 we had that run up because everybody was getting free money. Right. And it ended up to be a bank collapse. This isn't a bank collapse situation, so that's why I don't think we're not going to have, knock on wood, you know, the shortfall we had in 2006, 2007, where everybody had that, you know, horrific economic crash. You know, this one is just people just want to get out of the more congested buildings in New York City. They want to be able to come to a state where they can go outside and they can enjoy themselves. They can go to a park. They can go play golf. They can do things that are anti-COVID related.
Right.
And that's going to keep going because I'm just I had the paper up, and we had 16,000 COVID cases yesterday. So I don't know this may come back. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, you talked about the honest market competition, whereas in 06 or 07 it was inflated a little bit and not quite the real values.
06 and 07 was completely fueled by the fact that anybody could walk into a bank, make the accusation they made $1 million a year, write that down on a piece of paper, sign it, and you would get a loan based on it. Yeah. And there was no check, and unscrupulous people took advantage of that, and some, quite honestly, made a lot of money. Some people didn't do anything, and they caused the market to collapse. Now, fortunately, that's not the case here today. The case here today is a simple supply and demand. There's too much supply coming into the area. Too much demand, not enough supply. And so we don't have enough houses to help all these people out that want to move here.
That's right. It's competition. We talk to our lending partners all the time. We have Diane Vance on the show from Fairway Independent Mortgage. She talks about the critical need to be pre-qualified and ready to go because, as Frank is telling you, the competition is very fierce. No properties are lasting very long on the market around here. Frank, now I always rely on you a little bit for some of the legal information around some of these real estate things. I can't get over this condo in Miami, the collapse, and all the things that are coming out of it. What a mess it is. Certainly it's a tragedy. What are the legal? I can't even imagine what legal recourse there is for a tenant versus someone who owned a property and was renting it. My goodness, you're responsible for the renter as well. I can imagine there's a lot of legal things that never have been discussed or even tried before.
Okay, so fortunately in our office we handle the transactional side like we're talking about and doing the closings
Title
and whatnot.
work.
But we also litigate. Okay, and we litigate sophisticated litigation. And when you're talking about the catastrophe in Miami with the condo collapsing, that's a catastrophe, and it is extraordinarily complex litigation. And what makes it more difficult is the fact that the people that you would typically blame, perhaps an architect, perhaps a contractor, perhaps a supplier of steel and concrete, it's been so long ago that you're never going to be able to collect from those people. So the analogy at the end of the day is, yes, and I'm happy, I'm going to talk with you, James, about the legal hurdles you have to overcome. But at the end of the day, you need to get recovery for your client. Okay, so where are you going to get the money from? So you suspect that the building had insurance. Okay. So if the building had insurance, let's start with that. On the building itself, there's property coverage. I would venture that most condominiums are underinsured when it comes to replacing the value of the condo. So that building, I believe, was 2 or 3 buildings tall, about 12 to 14 stories. So if they estimated and they had a property damage claim or insurance policy of, I don't know, pick a number. 30 million is probably a pretty
enormous
big number. In actuality today, with the cost of what it cost of materials to rebuild that's probably double.
Oh, I could imagine.
Okay, and so now you don't have enough money to rebuild. So what do you do with the rest of it? The option would be, well, you can take your insurance money and maybe you can sell the dirt that's there, and maybe you can start trying to resolve some of the claims. The amount of claims you have are all different. Some are simply property damage claims. I mean, if you're fortunate enough to not be home on that day, okay, and you survived with your life, you were damaged by property.
Right.
Unfortunately, if you passed away in your state and your multiple family members, you have personal injury claims, wrongful death claims. And so the wrongful death, where's that? Who's going to pay for that? So where's that? Who do you point your finger to and say, you are definitely the wrong person here?
Right.
And by the way, there's always 2 parts to this analysis. If you prove someone's at fault, do they have the capability of making restitution for their faults? I mean, how do you pay someone the loss, okay, or try to compensate them for the loss of an entire family?
Yeah.
So you got to have deep pockets because there are some devastating damages in this case.
Right.
And, you'd like to. I don't know if I want to venture, but it's almost like you have to in this conversation. Right. You know, no one likes to get a letter from the HOA or the condo association that says, "Hey." Typically, the ones I see are, we want to repaint the building, it needs a new roof, the pool needs to be redone.
We're raising the fees.
The balconies, well, not only raising the fees, we're going to have a special assessment. So if you're paying $1,000 a month regularly, and we want to redo the balconies, everyone's got to chip in another $25,000, and, you know, I need the check in 60 days. In this case, we all know it went a lot further than balconies being deteriorated by the salt water. It went to the, you know, in essence, the foundation.
Right.
And so I would suspect that people that lived there who walked through that parking garage and saw cracks in the foundation of those bottom walls that support the entire building, I suspect they hopefully made demands upon their HOA or condo association board and said, do something about it. Now, it seems in 2018 from the news articles that they actually did that. They got some sort of company to come in. They got a report that says, yes, you've got to have remediation work. I'm not sure if it went so far as to give a figure. But you're going back 3 years. Someone was looking into this.
Right.
Now, why didn't it pull the trigger at that point in time and even get a mortgage against some of the property to help pay for it? I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to get those answers. But, you know, when it occurred, my first thought was, that's not supposed to happen in this country. What happened there is not supposed to happen in this country. It's never happened in my 51 years of life in this country. I mean, I don't even know if it happens in third world countries where whole buildings collapse.
It doesn't seem like I've heard this before.
It's horrific, right? And so how does it go so long? How does so many people, because there's got to be so many people involved, right? You got residents there. You have local officials there that, you know, theoretically you're supposed to
just
go over buildings and observe them. Yeah,
it's been assessed by tax assessors. It's been looked at by inspectors. It's been, you know, everyone from just simple maintenance, people painting it. You'd think you'd come across a bunch of people that had knowledge of this.
Right, and so at the end of the day, you know, there's probably a group of people that had knowledge of this. There's probably a handful of those people that said, we need to do something about this. Nothing got done. So,
wow.
Again, you go back to the end story. Okay, let's go to the end of the story. At the end of the story, we can't change what happened. What you try to do is you try to compensate the families for their losses. The problem is, I don't know if there's enough money to compensate those people properly for the loss of property and the loss of life. There's probably not. And so, not only is it complex litigation because you're trying to find an at-fault party, but does the at-fault party have enough money?
You know, Frank, very practical of you and something that never occurred to me. I always think about if I've been wronged, if something's done something to me, I want them held accountable. Your perspective on, I understand that you want to hold somebody accountable, but what is the end game? What are you going to get out of this as we look down the road? Because it's going to cost money to pursue this litigation. So I'm going to bill you for this, and then at the end of the day, when we find that at the party that's at fault and that party does not have the ability to compensate you, what have we accomplished? I mean, I think that's a great perspective and something that I'm sure is hard to sell somebody who feels they've been wronged and has a party in line that they want to punish.
Well, I can tell you this. I've had cases where there's been a clear wrongful death action, and the at-fault party has no money.
Right.
I've had cases like that. I've had cases, in fact, recently, where I've had that conversation with somebody. And, you know, when you talk about wrongful death cases and personal injury cases, those are all taken on a contingency fee basis, which means the lawyer does not get paid anything unless there's a recovery.
Right.
So in those cases, you know, you simply say there's no value there. There's no value. Unfortunately, you have been extremely wronged, and there's nothing I can do to help you. In the cases where you bill by the hour, which is not a contingency contract, and it doesn't have to do with a personal injury, well, let's say it's a business case, a contractual case, and the person wronged you, and it's clearly they wronged you. At the end of the day, the first question I ask is, if you were to win a judgment, are they collectible? Can you get more than a sheet of paper? And if you can't, you need to really sit down and figure out if you really want to spend the money on me to go get that sheet of paper.
Right. Congratulations. You won. Here's your 1 cent. I remember was it Trump with the New Jersey Generals that said the NFL was a monopoly and he wanted to make sure that he sued them and they said, yeah, you won. Here's your judgment. You get $1. So after all that legal wrangling and all that for 2 years, there was no settlement.
Yeah, and that stuff happens, and it happens on a fairly regular basis. The factual scenario, not necessarily the result.
Right.
So, I will tell people, if you're going to do this for principal, I want to forewarn you. Principal is not cheap. Principal is not free.
Right.
Okay. The last thing I want you to do is throw good money after bad. I mean, I'm fine telling people like that. I'm fortunate enough to be comfortable. I don't need to take cases where I think I'm not going to do a good thing for my client. And so, yeah, unfortunately, at the end of the day, you have to take the thought process, and I have clients who want to argue with me about the case. So this isn't about the facts of the case.
Right.
This is about, the end of the day, is it worth going through and proving all these facts?
Yeah, that's the perspective I think people lose when they get so involved in the fight. They can't see the forest through the trees there. All right, so Frank Charles, Miranda Law. Thanks so much, Frank. I'm going to bring you back. If you could, can you come out after the break?
Sure, for you, absolutely.
All right, thanks so much. We're going to talk more with Frank after the break, and also I've got a feel-good story for you about a local Olympian coming back home. I'm going to tell you all about Olympic gold medalist from Largo and the surprise welcome she got when she came home. Really cool story. And, of course, we've got more expert contributors. Lisa from the Ghost Publishing is with us, and we've got Suncoast Roofing in the house. Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right, consumerqb.com, a great resource for you. You can check out all our partners and our sponsors. The sponsor for this segment is Golf Cart Depot. Everyone's got a golf cart, Kids in my neighborhood are constantly pulling each other on skateboards with a golf cart, and the parents are walking the dogs. I don't know what they did before they had a golf cart, but if you need one, get to Discovery Golf Carts, also called Golf Cart Depot. They do a great job. They got all makes and models. They offer renting. You can rent or buy. They offer mobile financing and repair. 2 locations, Tampa and Clearwater. You can check them out online. Of course, Brandon is the owner of the Platinum MVP team. We're going to talk a little real estate on the show. We got a couple of properties for you. Johnny's going to throw up for me now. Whether it's commercial or residential, Brandon still has some opportunities for you in this market. Here's one in Tampa, 1602 East MLK, reputable auto body shop. So if you want to open an auto body shop, he's got a turnkey operation, 45 years in the same location, busy corner right there, 1602 East MLK Junior Boulevard. If you want to open a body shop, Brandon's got that for you. What else you got for me, Johnny? Here's one in Palm Harbor, residential opportunity, 3664 Darston Street. You want to relocate to Palm Harbor? You got 2,228 square feet, a 3-2, office den, screen lanai, waterfront, jacuzzi, great looking property, 2-year-old AC. Get in touch with Brandon if you're looking to relocate into the Palm Harbor area. He's got an opportunity for you. Before the break, we were visiting with Frank Miranda, talking a little bit about the horrific situation down there in Miami, and it got me thinking about a local story right here in Tampa. We had the element in the Tampa area had this crazy flood. I guess a pipe burst. The video I saw had current. I saw a guy walking through the hallway with actually white water coming through the hallways of this building. Incredible amount of water through there. I imagine a lot of these folks are renters. When I rented, I never got renter's insurance. What does he think is going to come out of this thing, Frank?
Jonathan, we are told that insurance companies are the way to go, and actually you have to do it, right?
Right.
The reality is most insurance companies don't move as fast as you really need them to. And the reality is, a lot of the court cases that are in court are there because insurance companies absolutely want to beat down on the plaintiff, even though they're not the named defendant. They're representing the named defendant, and there actually is insurance or policy behind them, and they're not settling for reasonable amounts. And I'll be honest, I think they're a major cause of why there's so much litigation.
Yeah.
They do a great job of spinning that on lawyers, saying that the plaintiffs' lawyers are out there trying to just make more money. But the reality of the situation is, every one of those cases goes to mediation. Most of them now go to a non-binding arbitration before they even go to the courthouse. And so there's a lot of evidence that they're presented with before they even have the opportunity to keep defending. And so, yes, you have to get homeowners insurance, and yes, you should get renters insurance. The sad part about the situation is sometimes it goes sideways, and they're not quite as fast with the check as you need them to be. Now, with that said, we always have to find the person that's at fault, okay? Whether it's the person that ran the red light that caused the accident, or in this case, who calls white water down your hallway.
Right.
Now, white water down your hallway, you can't live in. And so if it's an act of God and it's just, it's just a pipe burst just because a pipe burst, and there's no explanation for it, then you would think the building's insured for that incident.
Right.
Now, you're talking about not only the loss of maybe, personal effects that may never get completely compensated for, but now you're talking about you have to move out. It's got to be remediated. You got to go in there. You got to fix the building. And while that's going on, no one can really live there.
That's right.
And so it's an additional expense, and you got to hope that the work's done is done correctly. Because otherwise, then 6 months from now, then you have black mold growing behind the drywall. And so it's just a complicated issue, and there's a lot of people that really should do things the right way to make sure it doesn't, either one, that is fixed correctly, and two, that it minimizes the inconvenience for everybody that's affected. Unfortunately, number two rarely comes into play.
I can't imagine a time as a renter that I read a lease that mentioned anything about that kind of a catastrophic event or anything like that occurring, or what it would mean to me or my property.
Well, here's the bad news, okay? Even if it's in there, the insurance company behind it's going to litigate it.
Right.
And they're going to say, well, this should be interpreted this way because I think it should be interpreted this way. We're either not going to cover you at all or we're going to pay you a minimal amount. And honestly, I think they're the modern-day mob. I mean, honestly, they collect fees every month. I fight with them on a daily basis. So do my colleagues because people have been injured, right, either physically or their property, and we need them to get paid. And if they got paid, there would be no need for us. Okay.
It does seem amazing that you pay these people a premium every month, and as soon as you need services, you're either dropped or the premium's raised. So it's as if thanks for the money, but now we'll deal from this forward.
And they probably have the biggest lobby and all the laws that are pretty much slanted in their favor. And every time I walk in front of a jury, and before I open my mouth, I'm the one that's portrayed by them and through the media or through advertising of being the greedy lawyer. Right. And so at the end of the day, I mean, I'll tell you a story. I mean, I had
about 20 seconds, Frank.
Catastrophic event. Millions of dollars in bills. Offer to resolve the case was less than six figures.
And they just figured...
I couldn't pay the first 3 days of the hospital for that.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. So they're just starting at a low position, hoping we're going to negotiate, but you're not going to get anywhere near that number.
Right. They just try to beat people away. And if you don't have a lawyer that's aggressive, that's not willing to go to trial, then you got a problem.
Frank Charles Miranda Law, FCMLaw.com. Frank, what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you? Through the site, or you got a number?
Yeah, they can call the office at 813-254-2637, and we'll be happy to answer their questions.
FCMLaw.com. Thanks so much, Frank, for joining us today. When we come back, I've got Lisa Walls, The Ghost Publishing, and a great feel-good story about a local Olympian and her return home. Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback Show.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
for doing that, Frank.
Thanks, Jonathan. Did a great job.
Okay.
Five, four, three, two, one.
You're listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
That's right. Give Brandon a call if you're interested in any of the properties you hear us pitch here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, or you want to check out some of our sponsors, or get in touch with our expert contributors. Of course, they're all at consumerqb.com. And of course, I'm really pushing the YouTube channel. Go to YouTube, search the Consumer Quarterback Show. Check out our partners, all the videos. You can watch the show. We're streaming it live. It's all over the place because there's real value here in the Consumer Quarterback Show. This sponsor for this segment is Brandon Porter and Veteran Gutters. You know, Veteran Gutters does such a great job. Not only is Brandon a veteran and his crew are all veterans, but they do a great job at actually getting the water away from your house. And, you know, it's so much rain down here this time of year. Your foundation does not want to be pounded by all that rain coming off your roof. So make sure you have gutters on your house. And if you need them, get in touch with Brandon Porter, Veteran Gutters. He does a great job. All right, we got the last two properties of the show for you. Again, Brandon has real estate opportunities for you, both commercial and residential. Johnny, what do you got for us? Here's something in Brandon. If you want to get back to the Brandon area, you're looking to locate to the Brandon, prime location, great opportunity, 1211 North Parsons Ave. Ample parking. It's a former chiropractor's office, so we've got a commercial opportunity for you if you want to set up your business. Includes all the machines and equipment. There's a break room, kitchen area, waiting room. It's all ready to go at 1211 North Parsons Ave in Brandon. Great commercial opportunity from the Platinum MVP team. And here we've got a residential spot for you right at 117 14th in Bel Air in the Pinellas County area. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, private pool, gourmet kitchen, Jetta Air bathtub. How about that? Temperature-controlled wine closet, covered lanai. Wow. Minutes from Bel Air Beach, 117 14th Bel Air Beach. Get in touch with Brandon and the Platinum MVP team, and you can get into these properties yourself. All right, before the break, we were visiting with Frank Charles Miranda from FCM Law. Now we've got Lisa Walls, theghostpublishing.com. How are you doing today, Lisa?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
You did such a good job jumping in here in short notice for me. You guys have that 45-day challenge. Anyone out there that I tell them all the time, there's folks that think they can write a book, they want to write a book, and then the people say, no, I don't have a book in me. I would offer that if you've been doing something well for 15 or 20 years, just the knowledge you've gained by doing your job would be something that someone would benefit from in terms of contributions you could make in a book.
Right. I mean, just from your previous guest, look at how much knowledge he had and insight into something that we're all really not only dying to know more about how to protect ourselves.
Right.
But I'm sorry, I'm having issues with my mute button. But it's an opportunity because everybody is an expert with what they know. I mean, look at your previous guest. What an expert you had to give us insight. And these are things we need to know. If we are a condo owner, if we are a property owner, we need to know the ins and outs of real estate with potentially litigation. These are good things to know. And everybody is an expert in their own arena. And so
I love the way that you guys work with folks. You know, we talk about being an expert in your field, and then you say, well, I don't have a book in me. But nowadays, it's a lot easier than just sitting down with a pencil and paper and trying to write for hours and hours. You guys have all these ways to assist. First of all, you and Eli work directly with these folks. And then, of course, they can meet with you, and you guys kind of help them transcribe and take away some of the busy work that's involved in writing a book.
Right. That's why our 45 days challenges are really cool, because it's a combination of group coaching with one-on-one feedback. So, you get the expertise of somebody like Eli, who's not only a best-selling author, but his books are being turned into movies. He's got 2 in production this year. This is somebody who knows how to create a book that people want to read and that creates buzz.
That's
and
right.
then you've got the opportunity to engage with other people who also have learned a lot of the craft. But at the same time, you've got the one-to-one, because we, of course, will be offering direct feedback to participants.
And you guys have done this process for a while and have so many successful published books. How many books do you guys, a lot.
Just out of the 45-day challenges alone, we've probably, we're between 2 and 3 dozen people who've worked with us through the whole publishing process. So, but they've also been able to publish on their own if that's what they wanted to do, or they've, got their complete manuscript to shop around if that's what they want to do. So we've seen, we've had a 100% success rate in terms of manuscript completion through this program.
I love the way that you guys worked with Captain Will. Of course, he has a couple of books that Eli worked with him on. And the idea that once the story was out there, you start passing your book around and getting feedback. And then there's a possibility that it turns into a movie. And how you guys, the book is written in such a way that it inspires people to want more. I think that's awesome. All right, Lisa may have dropped out a little bit. It sounds like her mute button's giving us a little trouble. What do you got, Johnny? Well,
Sorry,
anyway, that's okay.
Go ahead.
That's okay. I was just mentioning that, writing the book and taking the 45-day challenge and all that, it's part of getting your feet wet as an author, and you feel like now I'm working with folks that already have successful books out there. It's not just helping me get through the grammar that I wouldn't necessarily understand, but you might see an idea in me, or I may have expressed an idea that I didn't expand on, and you're like, boy, this is an area that no one knows about or that is very under talked about. Why don't you write a chapter about that? Sometimes people don't see the value in their own knowledge.
Yeah, we call that a developmental edit. And that has to come before anybody starts talking about grammar or spelling or whether everything looks pretty on the page and it's formatted well. You've got to know that the outline you've created, the structure you're creating is something that's going to be readable, that somebody is going to actually finish your book because they're being pulled along a journey and they feel like they're with you in that journey. When they're the author, especially as nonfiction, you've got to build a relationship with the reader before you can ever start educating them or inspiring them. And we teach all that in our 45-day.
Man, that is really cool. I didn't think of it that way, but I suppose every time you start out reading a book, you're kind of evaluating whether you feel this is realistic or right or true. I guess you're kind of, judging the words as you're reading them. The idea that you guys are in the background saying, hey, this is the effect that these words can have. A lot of people don't even consider the fact that this might be interpreted a different way, or if I say this a certain way, it has a double entendre or some extra meaning. I just think that's a great service that you guys do. And once people work for a while with a professional, I bet the words start to flow a little easier out of them.
Absolutely. In fact, we have several people who've come through these 45 days a few times because they're working on their second and third book. Before they finish their first book, they have ideas.
Right.
that they want to carry on for a second, third, and now fourth book for some of them.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I can see where you're inspired now that you've got the idea that I can put this on paper and kind of look at my words out there and they have an impact on folks. I think that's really powerful. And I'm sure once they realize that there's that kind of power in their words, that inspires them to go further.
Absolutely. Brandon himself, he's working on his second book. So, he knows the value of getting your message out there and articulating it fully, so that when you're building your brand or you're working to inspire your tribe, as people are now referring to it, you're doing it in a way that gets them to connect with you all the way. And you can now encourage them to follow you on your Facebook profile, your LinkedIn. You create a YouTube channel. There's huge opportunity once you have developed.
That's right. Now, once you got Brandon to see the value of his books, he was able to see a story from a distance as well. So we have an expert contributor on the show in the cryptocurrency space named Jackson Shembakar. And Brandon said, man, I bet there's a book in there. You're awful young to have this much knowledge about this unusual subject. We should write a book about that. And next thing you know, he started working with you guys.
Yeah, and Jackson is, I've heard it called, somebody's just super special in their space. They've got a really unique perspective and voice. They're kind of a unicorn in the space. Everybody needs to see them. Everybody wants to see them. They almost can't believe what they're seeing. Jackson is like that, and he needs to be on morning talk shows. He needs to be having a TEDx. He needs to be out there, and the book is going to do that for him.
That is going to be awesome because, again, cryptocurrency might as well be, it's a complete mystery to me. I hear people talk about it and I try to learn what I can about it. Every time I think I know what's going to happen, it changes. So having somebody, I think, first of all, his age, he grew up with it. So it's a second nature to him. It's like these kids with computers or cell phones. It took me a little while. I got to pull out the instruction manual and the kid just snatches it out of my hand.
You're right. I had something that wasn't working for me the other day, and I handed it to my 25-year-old, and he got it working instantly. So Jackson does that for people's profiles for their cryptocurrency.
Now, when you guys, during the 45-day challenge, does somebody check in with you after they write pages, or is there a kind of a schedule? How does it actually work?
Every day is actually mapped out before we start. Every day includes some instruction and some information that they're going to need in order to write what they need to for that day, that week. We have assignments that are ongoing throughout the 45 days, all building to a finished manuscript at the end of 45 days. So, yes, there's continual feedback and continual assignments being turned in, if you will.
And so the subjects I mentioned or the topics I mentioned seem to be kind of instructional in terms of the cryptocurrency or Brandon with real estate. But you guys, it's genres across the board, right? Fiction, nonfiction, whatever it is?
We have absolutely worked with fiction writers, and that takes a little bit of a different track in terms of coaching. But because we are offering this one-to-one, we are able to work with them even in the 45-day. Memoirs are really popular for this process. Everybody knows their story, but they're not sure how to get it on the page or how to organize it in a way that makes people want to, read through the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And, I've never met anybody who has put their story down on the page and it's not been fascinating. Right. No matter the life they've lived, there's something fascinating about them, their experiences. And it's always inspiring and encouraging.
Well, hopefully all this time for reflection that we've had with this virus and some of us being isolated for times, inspire the author and all of us. Maybe we can get a book out. You guys would be much more popular because people are more introspective, I think, after this.
Look, I believe absolutely everybody can be an author if they have a good editor. We absolutely provide those services. The trick is to get started. Most people who start a book don't finish it. This is an opportunity to get a really affordable way to get a personalized coaching experience to get you to the finish line if you've thought of starting that book.
Well, we want to encourage all the listeners out there in the Bay Area to get in touch with theghostpublishing.com. See if you're an author. I mean, you don't realize until you speak with these folks the power of a book and the power that you have in them. Lisa, anything you want to mention before I let you go?
No, I really appreciate what you guys do, James, and with Brandon's show, educating consumers and keeping everybody informed. This world moves too fast for us not to have our ears open to what's going on, whether it's protecting our, real estate interests or whether it's knowing what to do with cryptocurrency.
That's right.
We've got to start paying attention a little bit better. And I think those of us who know what we know, we need to do a little bit better about reaching out and sharing that knowledge.
That's right. Don't be afraid to share your knowledge. Again, Lisa Walls, theghostpublishing.com. Thanks so much for joining us, Lisa. Okay, we're going to take a little break now. Don't forget about our feel-good story. As I mentioned before, we've got a local Olympian right here from Largo. She won a gold medal. When she got back in town recently, I'm going to tell you about the reception she got. And, of course, Suncoast Roofing. You guys know Chuck, you know Mary. We've got Caesar here. So we're going to add to our Suncoast Roofing knowledge. Don't go anywhere. This is the Consumer Quarterback.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hey, Brandon Rhymes here. We are looking for real estate investors. We've got a new relationship bringing us a tremendous amount of off-market real estate investment opportunities. So text the word investor to our hotline, 813-750-0550. Off-market real estate investment opportunities. Text investor to 813-750-0550. Brandon Rhymes here, Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, looking for real estate investors. Send us a text. Hey, Brandon Rhymes here for Cleaning Commandos here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Cleaning Commandos are hiring, and they're offering competitive wages, flexible hours, relaxed atmosphere, and a sign-on bonus. Reach out if you'd like a career with the Cleaning Commandos here in Tampa Bay. Info at cleaningcommandosllc.com or call 813-750-0550, 813-750-0550. Cleaning Commandos, Consumer Quarterback Show.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
That's right, consumerqb.com. All our partners are listed there, as well as our sponsors. You can check out some of the videos and some of the things that Brandon does on the real estate side. This particular segment is sponsored by Brothers Easy Moving. These guys became the official moving partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show after moving Brandon into his new house. I went out there to help. I didn't want to move any furniture, but it was after 8 o'clock, and these guys are still moving furniture at night. So I thought, you are the official moving partner without a doubt. Get in touch with Brothers Easy Moving, local or long distance. These guys do a great job, and they really care about getting your stuff there on time. All right, before the break, we talked to Lisa Walls, and she told us about how you can write a book. Even though you don't think you have a book in you, there is a book in you, and a great way to share that knowledge with all the folks around you is by writing a book. And of course, we spoke with Frank Charles Miranda in the first segment, and he opened my eyes a lot to the legal aspects of some of the news we've heard about Element and the Miami Surfside condo collapse. Now, again, we've heard from Chuck Peterson and Mary on the show. Caesar Rodriguez from Suncoast Roofing is in the house. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Well, I want to tell you all about Suncoast Roofing and our history with them right after I tell you this feel-good story, because this is about an Olympic gold medalist from Largo, right in our area. So Anna Zlatic, she made history in Tokyo as the first U.S. woman ever to win gold in Taekwondo. On Wednesday morning, she woke up for the first time in her own bed since taking home the gold medal. Anna touched down in Tampa late Tuesday night and got a surprise welcome after she landed. The Olympian got her start at U.S. Best Taekwondo, and Dennis White, the man who taught Anna her skills, was among the crowd that welcomed her home. Anna was able to show off her gold medal to the loved ones in person. Her family couldn't be with her in Tokyo because of the COVID-19 restrictions. She said, "It feels so good. It finally feels like I won the Olympic medal. I know before I said I didn't feel it because we were away from everyone, and it was a closed competition. But seeing everybody, it's unreal," she says. "My legs are still shaking. It's special. It's emotional," her mother said. Anna did not expect all the fuss when she returned home. "I was thinking on the plane it would be normal. I'll see my family, maybe snap a few pictures with friends. I got so emotional. It's so good to be with family and friends." She said she first discovered her love of Taekwondo while participating in the U.S. Best Taekwondo after-school program right there in Largo. "I'm just so happy and proud for her. What a great moment, not only for the USA, but for her family and the martial arts community," said White, her former coach. Anna said she plans to enjoy life with family before she starts training for the Olympics in Paris in 2024. So right in our own backyard, we've got Olympians winning gold medals. That's pretty cool. All right. I mentioned before, Suncoast Roofing. Caesar Rodriguez is here. Caesar, tell us about how long you've been with Suncoast.
I've only been with Suncoast for 1 year right now.
Okay.
I was brought over to be a branch manager for the Tampa Bay area.
Okay.
I run the Hudson branch. I'm under Mary Cernicki, and I get to work with Chuck Peterson all the time. Good people.
Yeah, that's right. Those guys come on the show all the time. We're always interested in knowing the supply side, because people want to get a roof done, or they hopefully not in a situation where a storm has damaged the roof and they're in a situation where they have to have tarping and roof done immediately. Is it any easier for you guys to get materials now?
It's still tough. It's getting a little bit better. The way we deal with it is just good communication. Tell somebody up front, don't promise something that you cannot deliver. GAF has been fantastic.
Right.
We meet with them regularly, plus our suppliers, the distributors, regular meetings all the time. We stay informed. That way we know what we're giving our customer is current and right information, because I can't promise you something that I might not be able to get.
Right. You mentioned GAF. One of the things that's so awesome about Suncoast, GAF actually has a 50-year warranty on the shingles. I thought to myself, Chuck, I'm not going to, the shingle's going to outlive me and the whole house.
Yeah, the shingles are amazing. The new HGZ line, they are really lifetime shingles.
Right.
And us being master elite installers, we can offer 25 years on labor and workmanship.
Wow.
And that's the most important thing, is if that install is right and it's backed up for 25 years, you've got no problems.
Right. Well, what a great security for you, knowing, hey, I've got this 50 years on the shingles and 25 years on the install. That is awesome. Now, Chuck does a great job. He comes on the show all the time. Whenever there's a storm, Louisiana, Florida, along the coast, Mississippi, he tries to go in there and help folks out, because we're always worried about these storm chasers that come in and try to tarp your roof and get a big deposit down and all that. It occurred to me that we've got this supply shortage. And we've got folks out there that we just had this insurance bill go through where they said 10 years, after 10 years, the percentage of roof coverage is diminished.
Correct.
It's really an interesting time to be in Suncoast Roofing. If you've got a re-roof, say you're a homeowner and it's not new construction, you just want to get a re-roof done. You've got to consider the timing when the supplies can be there, and then kind of the storm season, right? Because what if the storm comes along and you get damaged? You may not be in a position to have materials ready to fix that.
And that's correct. We do our best to plan. As soon as somebody signs with Suncoast Roofing, we're getting their material. We're earmarking it right then. We're calling our suppliers and putting in the amount of squares that we're looking for right then. Act of God, there's not a whole lot we can do about it. We try to prepare the best we can and give the best communication that we can. We know a storm's coming. We'll know a little ways out, and we'll do the best we can to prepare.
I'm not trying to sound the alarm, but it just seems like if a storm slams into a place and there's not enough supplies to just handle the new construction that we have in Florida, man, I could see some folks being in a really tough spot.
No doubt. I mean, I'm not going to be able to calm anybody down with that. When a storm comes, if it's a big storm and it hits our coast, the entire supply is going to get sucked up.
Right.
And it's going to be a nightmare for everybody. There's going to be really long waits. We are offering roof wraps now.
Okay.
So we're able to go out if there's storm damage and shrink wrap an entire roof.
Wow.
And that shrink wrap is warranted for 1 year. So when a disaster, like if and when it happens, we're able to protect your home for a year. While you're waiting for that supply, it's durable, it looks good, it's sleek, and you're protected. No more water getting inside the house. And we're one of the few people that are offering this, and
that is awesome. I've never even considered that, but the idea of tarping it with sandbags or ropes or whatever, it's just not going to keep all, the wind and water combined in our state, it's just not going to keep that out.
And we've dealt with it where you have to go back out and fix a tarp over and over and over again, and this is kind of an end-all be-all. We can go out, cut it open, let it be inspected by a public adjuster, whoever needs to inspect it, and we can heat weld it and seal it right back up, and you're protected until your material comes and your roof can be redone.
Wow, I really think that is awesome. Suncoast Roofing in the house, and you can see these guys going the extra mile for the consumer. They always have. That's kind of why we partnered with Chuck and Mary initially. We just love their heart for the consumers. And now, what is the greater proportion of the work you guys are doing? Is it re-roofs? Is it new construction? What do you think you're most doing now?
Mostly re-roofs.
Okay.
We are a re-roof company. We don't try to compete too much with the new construction people. It's a lot lower level of roofing. We are trying to build relationships in our community. We're a long-time company that's not going anywhere. So we plan on seeing these 25-year labor warranties through to the very end. And that's the way we do it. Quality work, good turnaround, do everything the right way, so that way that person tells their neighbor and their friend and so forth and so on.
I tell folks all the time, whether you're getting solar panels or you're buying a roof, this is a relationship that has to last years. You can't just shop price and then assume you're never going to see this person ever again. This is something that you're going to have to go back and forth with this vendor occasionally. You have questions, you have things you need done. You need to establish a relationship, and that's when you're shopping for this product. You got to consider that relationship.
And it's important for the consumer to do their homework on their roofing contractors, because especially if there's any kind of a storm, hail damage, anything that's going on. If somebody's knocking on your door, they're soliciting you. We want our customers to call us.
Right.
We want our name known in the community. We want to be invited to your home. We want you to look us up on the Better Business Bureau. We want you to look at our reviews because we know we're doing a good job, and we want you to feel comfortable with us.
We encourage all the listeners in our audience, with all our partners and all the sponsors, that anytime you get work done, go online and check out reviews. That is the first, easiest defense you have against making a big mistake.
Yeah, we live in a world of reviews. I mean, that's it. Everything's available at the touch of a button. You can look up the company. And it's on you if you don't do your homework. You know, price is not the end-all, be-all. When you're talking about something that's going to protect all of your valuables, your family, your home, do your homework.
We got just about a minute left. I just wanted, if you could touch on the solar panel idea. You know, when Chuck first came in here and talked about the solar panel, I thought it would take a roofer to eliminate that idea of punching a hole through your roof. So they found out a way to put solar panels on your house without penetrating your roof.
It's amazing. GAF does such a good job. So the panels go flat to the deck on high temp peel and stick.
Right.
And then it's got flashing that goes up on it. So it becomes part of the roof deck that's warranted with your new roof. So it can take a heavy wind load. There's nothing for the wind to get underneath. And you don't have all the penetrations for the racks.
That's right.
So we're able to get our GAF Golden Pledge warranty the same way we would any other time. So when another solar company comes out, they void a warranty,
right.
We're giving you the warranty.
So you know what? You void the warranty. As soon as you penetrate that roof, he's saying that with Suncoast, you can get panels put on your roof and not have to do that. So that's a huge change, a different design, and really an innovative move by you guys.
Yeah, it's important to have solar and roofing working together. We can't be voiding each other's warranty.
That's
so
right.
GAF made it so that this works really well.
Thank you so much to Cesar Rodriguez, Suncoast Roofing in the house. Of course, Chuck and Mary, anytime you got roofing needs out there, we encourage you to get in touch with those folks at Suncoast Roofing. They do a great job for us. As I mentioned earlier, I wanted to thank Frank Miranda for coming on, FCMLaw.com, explaining a little bit about what we can expect the future of this condo collapse to go. And of course, Lisa Walls, the Ghost Publishing. You've got a book in you. Take the 45-day challenge, just like our expert contributor, Justin Shembekar, did. And again, I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank Brandon for giving me the opportunity to fill in for him on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Go to the YouTube channel and check out all our videos. Search the Consumer Quarterback. Thanks so much.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show.